how will the Mighty Nein animated series handle one of Campaign 2's biggest moments?
You're not actually suggesting that we change our own personal history.
We change history all the time.
A Mighty Nein series is on the way. Well, it's probably actually a couple of years away, and we've been, idly thinking about how the show will tackle the beloved Critical Role campaign. Now, before we dive into this video, we should note that it will be filled with Campaign 2 spoilers, so if you want to avoid those spoilers, be warned and click away.
You gotta get out of here.
So, in a previous video, we talked about how the show might even out parts of the storyline, and that got us thinking about what was probably the first iconic moment of the Mighty Nein campaign. That is, Mollymauk's death. Mollymauk was the first true character death in Critical Role. Sure, Vax had died at the end of Campaign 1, but he was literally resurrected and brought back to fight in the final fight against Vecna as a Revenant, before, becoming the champion of Ravens. Now, Mollymauk, he was undoubtedly a popular character, and he cast a long shadow in Campaign 2, to the point that his resurrected body became the final villain of the campaign, with most of the final third of the campaign dedicated to following Molly's unfractured personality soul counterpart Lucian and the Tomb Takers. However, Molly's death came at a really weird time in the Mighty Nein campaign. Ford and Jester were rented off, so to speak, due to Laura Bailey having a baby, and the resulting plotline followed the Mighty Nein trying to rescue Ford and Jester from slavers with the help of Ashley Birch's guest character, Keg. The initial rescue attempt went really poorly due to Keg literally running from the fight because she had some past connection with these slavers, and she also had some very poor information about the slavers' abilities, and that all led directly to Molly's death. Now, Birch received a ton of hate from critters for her character's actions, with many directly blaming her for killing off the campaign's most popular character. Now, Molly's death was perhaps the first big moment in the Mighty Nein campaign, and it really set the tone for the campaign, namely for the Mighty Nein trying to, avoid conflict as much as they can, or at least avoid direct confrontation as much as they could. However, it occurred relatively early on in the campaign, which might make Molly's death seem a little bit more, trivial when animated series viewers only have a handful of 30-minute episodes to get to know Molly, instead of something like, 100 hours of Critical Role episodes. So, that leads us to wondering, how will Molly's death be handled in the Mighty Nein animated series? Will they shuffle around some of the early plotlines of the campaign to better incorporate Molly and Nyasha, and make Molly's eventual death a bit more tragic and poignant? Could they end Season 1 with Molly's death, or maybe even open Season 2 with Molly's death to give the moment a lot more of an impact? Remember that Walking Dead season opener where Negan kills Abraham and then kills Glenn? Everyone was expecting Glenn, but when Abraham died, people thought maybe Glenn's gonna make it. Spoiler alert, he didn't. Even just delaying Mollymauk's death for a bit in the plotline, you could still have him be killed by Lorenzo, but maybe during the actual rescue of Jester and Ford inside the Iron Shepherd's compound instead of their initial failed ambush. That way, the entire cast can share in this huge moment, which not only would be a great twist, which gives new fans more time to get to know Mollymauk, but keeps veteran critters on their toes and gives them a new reason to keep watching. After all, how could anyone really complain about a little extra Mollymauk in their lives and a chance to just see a bit more of what Taliesin had planned for this fan-favorite character? Or could we see an even more out-of-the-blue death sequence to keep longtime fans on their toes? After all, we saw that Season 2 of the Legends of Vox Machina takes some really big liberties from the original campaign. So, we were thinking, why not take some liberties with Molly's death to make that moment feel even more shocking? Hopefully, Molly's death at least comes with Keg having, a little bit more of a role in this, or maybe a little bit more of a redemption of arc of some kind, because quite frankly, Keg, she really pulled the short straw in all of this.
And we have another guest that's going to come on and hopefully kill someone else too this week, I believe. Matt, did you want to... Yeah.
Now, our producer Pete even wonders whether Molly could somehow end up surviving into much later in the show, or even not die at all, and instead have Lucian's consciousness subsume him. I personally think that's a little far-fetched. Again, Molly's death is one of the defining moments of the Mighty Nein, But I do think that there's a decent possibility that we'll see some more of Molly's backstory with Lucian play out on screen instead of off screen like it did in Campaign 2. If you want a really good idea how that could be possible, you should read the Nine Eyes of Lucian novel, which basically retells the second campaign from Lucian's perspective, which is really fascinating. It would be really cool and interesting to see Lucian's story play out on screen instead of just popping up in the final season of the show as the ultimate bad guy. Anyways, Mollymauk's life and death and sort of re-life is going to make for some great television. So, do you think that the animated series should play it straight, or how would you change Mollymauk's final bow? Let us know in the comment section, and don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons.